morning. It's time now for the Community Profile Program on WLON, WOHS, WCSL, and on our website at ktcbroadcasting.com. Milton Baker, and in the studio is co-host and executive producer of the Community Profile, Sandy Alexander. Good morning to you, Sandy.
Good morning, Mr. Milton.
It's good to have you back as we do the show Monday through Wednesday. So our last show last Wednesday. It's good to be back with the folks here again. For the
I look forward to it.
And introduce our guest for today.
I'll be glad to. We have Sergeant Tracy Curry from the County Sheriff's Department, and glad to have you.
Yes, it's good to be here. Glad you asked me to come up.
And he's prepared to the hill. When they walk in with the laptop, you know they're ready. But our subject, we was going to talk about safety on computers and
Right.
Cyber safety. That's cyber. That word cyber kind of scares a lot of people anyway. Cyber this, cyber that.
Yeah, they had to come up with a word that would incorporate telephones and computers, because obviously telephones are now with their own even hard drives, and so that word basically encompasses anything that social media does. That's where it basically comes from, and with the mass usage of social media now, obviously it's a really great tool. Like anything else, there's abuse as well, and that's what we deal with.
And the cyber safety that can fall in categories from your money to protecting to just a wide range of topics and covered by cyber safety on the computer.
Absolutely. We have there's a lot of information out there about identity theft and how that's done on a computer. I'm not obviously trying to teach anyone how to do that, but there are a lot of safety precautions you can take, and a lot of those you can actually find simply by using your computer, Googling whatever area you want to look at, like a secure site for a credit card. There are lots of different sites that will explain to you how they work. One, for instance, when you're online shopping and you get into you start to check out, says you're now being moved to a secured site. You can check that site, really make sure that it is secure before you actually make your purchase. That's a good rule of thumb as well.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the other abuses, of course, there's all kinds of cyberbullying, cyber stalking that goes on. Unfortunately, we see the majority of that, more so than even the computer crimes. We see quite a few of those as well, but with the cyberbullying and cyber stalking, we really have a lot of prevention programs that we try to do, because obviously we'd rather just stop it before it starts. It's kind of like the old adage of the ambulance down in the valley. Why would you put the ambulance down in the valley when you could ambulance at the top of the cliff to keep people from falling, or fence at the top of the cliff?
Yeah.
So we're trying to do that with prevention. We do programs throughout the state and all the middle schools. We're doing 6th and 7th grades now. We've actually moved down to younger.
Mm-hmm.
The reason being, obviously, there are so many, 75% of young people have cell phones. And I say young people, I mean basically less than 15 years old. And they're using them all day long. They can text in their pocket without even looking at the
Yeah.
letters. And the average youth, and again, youth be 16 to 12 to 16, sends more than 10,000 texts per month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just text messaging, which doesn't include Facebook. Facebook now has 500 million users worldwide. Again, it's a great tool. It's a great way to stay in touch, but there's also lots of abuses with it. It's simple to create a website or a Facebook profile. It's not you.
Mm-hmm.
To enable you to look at other people's profiles. And people self-disclose a lot. I think that's one of the major things we try to get across to young people.
We talk too much.
Yes,
we tell too much.
Correct. For instance, an example, a lady put on Facebook that she was going to a concert, and that she would meet the other people going at some street in Charlotte. They would leave a car there and go on amphitheater and come back. Well, of course, when she got home, she realized somebody come in and taken everything she had.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, she did have a security system. This is just one example of many. Once she got another computer and was able to look at the footage, realized that the person that stole all of her belongings was familiar to her. She didn't know why. She found that that person was a friend of hers on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many people that will friend just to have, that's a status symbol among youth.
Yeah.
Friends.
Oh, yeah. The more,
Right. So she friended this person so he could see everything on her blog and on her profile, and didn't even know who he was. And this person was actually using his true identity, and it's so easy to use fake identity to do that as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Things like that. Something as simple as taking a photo with your cell phone. If you actually, any cell phone now is GPS equipped. A photo with your cell phone and upload it to your Facebook page. It's very simple to look at that photo and look in the properties and get the geographic coordinates of where the photo was taken.
Wow.
So for a lot of young
wow.
people, we've actually had basically predators show up in our county, looking at the front doorstep of 12-year-olds because they were able to look at that geographic coordinate
Mm-hmm.
and know exactly where they live. Simple things can be more dangerous than you'd think. And again, I say self-disclosure. The more you put on any blog about yourself, the easier it is for somebody to track you and or exploit you.
Yeah. And it's very tempting if you're talking about Facebook. You're on vacation. You want in this world of instant information, to show a meal, beautiful sunset, or the beautiful ocean, or the beautiful mountains. But that does tell people you're gone. The logical thing to do is tell about your trip when you get home. When you get back, so we're not there now, but this is what it looked like. But it's like I said, it's tempting, and it's and people do it sometimes without realizing. I was looking at my Facebook page. Some people I know who are on vacation,
Sure,
showing those photos, and this is just a lot of people I know who go on vacation, show those photographs while they're still
And
gone.
a lot of people too will befriend somebody. They don't even know them.
well,
But it says they're like the like 15 other friends of yours that are friends with them. Like, well, they know them. They must know me.
yeah,
So I'll click OK.
right.
In fact, they don't know you.
Yeah, another example. Anytime I do a presentation at middle school in particular, have it's easy to set up a Facebook page with no picture, of just a generic name.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that to people that I know students that I know will be in the class the next day. Generally within about 30 minutes, I have three that in me would have no idea who it is because it's not a person I know, and there's no picture on the profile. Friend, I get a friend response from them. Then I start getting you have two and three mutual friends.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, if I do that on a Sunday evening, by the time I get to that classroom and auditorium where I do the seminar, I generally have anywhere from 12 to 18 people that have signed on, don't know who I am. And that really seems strange, but if you think of it from a young person's perspective, again, the number of friends that they have sometimes is more of a status symbol for them. And statistically, and let me preface this by saying there are three kinds of lies: lies, lies, and statistics. Lots of times, but statistically, 65% of young people think that their online friends that they've never met are just as important as their real life friends. That's the mindset we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And they may have a very close relationship with people that they've never met. They don't even really know who they are.
One person I know has told me in recent days that they are doing as much as they can to associate with anything like Facebook and email. Is it possible in this day and age to really just go off the grid, so to speak?
I don't think so. I think you can certainly choose to do that. There are lots of ways to be safe. You wouldn't have to choose to do that. Advocate people to get away from social media.
Mm-hmm.
Be responsible with it. Be safe. But to go, actually, there's so much mass media. Not only that, the public records are so available now.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been on social media, it's not difficult for somebody to track you and find you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for your daily activities and or current status, whether it's where you live or financial reasons or whatever, that's a little more difficult to find. But you can find most of the information that you want for anybody on now.
Yeah.
Again, the public has been enforced more in the last 8 years than it had been for quite some time.
Yeah.
So we can still find you.
Yeah.
And not just the police. I'm not just saying that from a law enforcement perspective.
Yeah.
If you want to find someone, you
Well,
certainly can.
people who do the things they do illegally on the computer, they are so crafty and so devious. The mind, their mind thinks in ways, you know, how would they even come up with that scheme or know how to, where do they get the idea that they could that they could find out about people in that way? It's just so amazing how the devious mind can work sometimes.
It gets very intricate. We've worked cases, and I say referring to the sheriff's office, and I've specifically divisionally worked cases involving people who are who have created websites that are even on federal probation, but they look for things. They're very intelligent. In most instances, they look for websites and profiles that show them enough information to understand that young person may be suffering from low self-esteem, and then they really work hard to exploit that person individually, which the computer relationship turns into a texting phone relationship, and they really know who they're talking to. Then they start sending photos back and forth. Sometimes the predator will send photos that are not of him or her, acting like another young person, and they entice another person to do that. We also really want all of the young people to understand that doing that, if you're less than 18, that is child pornography. Even if it's a video or a photo that you've taken of yourself, you can be prosecuted for that. That's actually second-degree exploitation of a minor, even though it's yourself. First degree, really, because you created it. And those are all felonies. And then again, we tend to deal with those cases more often than even cyberbullying or cyberstalking.
Do you do many undercover operations where an officer poses as a young person and you have responses from older people who are looking to take advantage of someone?
We do, and prosecute them. That we don't necessarily have to go undercover nearly as much.
Okay.
We can literally monitor. We have people coming to us with the information, but there are programs. We have several investigators that are on with some federal agencies, and we have it's what they tag videos and or photos. When those videos or photos downloaded anywhere in your area, we receive a that tells us that we need to get that person from there.
Okay. Sandy, question?
I'm just, you and I were talking about, like friends on Facebook, and before you got here, and I don't befriend anybody, that I don't know, but then that pops up, well, 25 people,
Right.
friends with, then I think, well, I surely I've known them from somewhere.
Well, it makes people feel like, especially in the South, we're in the Bible Belt, we're cordial people.
Yeah.
And we feel like we would be disrespectful not to friend that person.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly hope that people can change that way of thinking.
Yeah.
I see people a lot of times. I know that I know them, but I might not know in context where I know them from, and it is embarrassing to ask, and that's kind of the same thing when you see the friend request. But again, your safety's primary, and to have people that own that have access to your profile and your blog, it's simply not safe if you don't know them. And again, one thing we tell people is, I graduated a long time ago. I have somebody contact me that I graduated, say, high school with. I think it's a great idea to actually call that person, make sure it's them.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see that a lot. We see people posting as someone that you should know from the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very simple to find a photo of them. Again, you can probably
Pick
find
up an old annual.
you could probably find several hundred photos online that I have nothing to do with. Right. An old annual, classmates.com. But verify before you friend them.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen them in a long time, and I tell students, verify that person if you see them every day. Ask them, did you send me a friend request? You'd be surprised that they would say, no, I don't have a Facebook page. Well, somebody's created one for them.
Yeah. And I mean, people out there listening probably had instances saying, yes, I know what you're talking about. It's happened to me. La, 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 la. A few weeks ago, I was sent out. Now, these are things that get me sometimes emails. I don't know whether the email is legitimate or not, but I had an email looked pretty official from Facebook, said someone in New York had tried to log in my password, and I need to change it. I did. I hope I didn't do anything.
Well, that's actually that is a it's a quite scam.
Yes,
going around.
Well, it looked like I went to an official Facebook page,
and a lot of times the way to do it is not to go to the website that they send you.
Mm-hmm. I went to Facebook.
Go to your Facebook.
Yeah.
The way you normally on Facebook.
That's what I did.
And generally using the computer that you generally use, it will probably you probably already have your password in, so you'll know immediately if there's a problem. But be careful with that. Obviously, that's a great. We have those. We have this PayPal, and again, not to single out any company, but any company is susceptible to the scams. We have right now we have a lot of people literally calling on telephones. And they target older people, and they're telling them that something's wrong with an account and or money's trying to be transferred, and they get all their personal information. Obviously, that's certainly not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have friends or that are older, make sure they're aware of that. You know, for anybody to call them, that's never going to happen. You could get an email from a company that says you've been compromised, but generally they've already made the changes necessary to keep that from happening. Those are fraud alerts, and they certainly be a big help, but make sure that they are legitimate.
Yeah, a lot of email scams out there. You've won some money somewhere. We need you to send
The tax.
Yeah.
Pay us $4,000. We'll send you $250,000.
Yes, that sort of thing. And just anything email that looks too good to be true.
That's
probably is, as the old cliche goes. Yeah, people listening, and it even starts going through my head. Wow, I should just get rid of my email. I should just get rid of my Facebook. Anything can happen, but it's not that bad all the time. But there's things you got to just watch out for.
And if you have a good spam filter, and or you can download any happened with the bringing them up in particular. We deal with the cyberbullying and cyber stalking, and those laws, like any other laws, are fairly simple and complex than others.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, what that boils down to is, if I were to sit here and tell you that you're not an attractive person, that wouldn't torment you. But if you were 13 and I put it on Facebook, then it could.
So that's
that basically, in a nutshell, is what we're looking at.
yeah. I was going to ask you the term cyberbullying. It's just it's the same. It's kind of the same as the face-to-face thing, but it's worse when it's out there for everyone to see.
Right. If it's considered, and again, we're dealing with, they're talking about younger people, but anything that's that could be considering that could be considered intimidating, or and or harassing.
Mm-hmm.
For an adult, this is a lot different than it is for someone. So that's where most of the laws are actually that's what they were created for.
Mm-hmm.
And they go as far as to say that if you provide an electronic outlet for someone that you know is cyber stalking and or cyber bullying, that you can be charged with that misdemeanor.
Mm-hmm. So in Cleveland County alone, is it a big issue, the cyber stalking, cyber crimes?
Cyber stalking involves adults in domestic relationships. Cyber bullying, you're talking about young people, and it is very prevalent. Whereas it's actually taking the place of physical bullying. There, obviously, we still have that as well, but that's very simple because we're talking about assaults, physical assaults.
Right.
But for cyberbullying, we're talking about anything harassing or intimidating to someone who's fairly young, and that can get it's very prevalent. We don't see a lot of times the schools and the SRO officers know that, but it does come to our attention. We have to deal with it, and there are people each year charged with cyberbullying.
Mm-hmm.
And you certainly don't have to be an adult to be charged with it either.
Yeah. And is your when charges are filed against a person, is it very hard to prove, to convict a person? To what type of sentencing would someone get in any particular?
It's not difficult to prove because most of any of the electronic transfers are, of course, digital files, so they can be tracked fairly easily. And it even goes to one of the third parts of the cyber bullying. Talks about false statements concerning death, injury, or illness.
Mm-hmm.
Those come to our attention more than anything else because they're very upsetting, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
If you're 18, if you're let's say this way, if you're 18 or older, it's a class 1 misdemeanor,
Mm-hmm.
Which could actually carry 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you're less than 18, it's a class 2 which generally involves a probation.
Mm-hmm.
So the laws are set up again pretty much age conscious as well. Times it's just to deal with it and for the parents to know that's another thing too. Again, prevention. Parents have the best response time, obviously, than anybody who deals with a young person, and they have all the tools they need. Literally go to Google and type in parental controls and find ways to literally track what the young person is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we hear from them a lot saying, I don't want to have to police my young person.
Okay.
Well, it's their responsibility to do that, actually. So
Let me go to, if you don't mind taking a phone call. We have one like to question. Let me get this call set up here on the air, and we'll take this caller. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a question?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, he can hear you. You go right ahead.
Okay. First of all, I've enjoyed the program. I've been through this similar situation with social media with my daughter, where I'm at the computer now, the laptop, to where it has to be seen at all times. If I walk by, so I'm always being nosy of that. But my question I have more concern of, my father is 85 years old, very generous man. His phone rings all the time.
oh, yes.
Solicitors and things like that. I put him on the do not call list, and he even has it on his message machine. But he's continuing to get the call.
Right. Um, the
And he's the type that will give the money if they sound pitiful or, send money. So I have to monitor him.
yeah, and actually, in some instances, if people have been, if they have the information and they continue to do that, and that's just their mindset because of their age or where they are now, that is difficult. I certainly feel for you there. As far as the do not call list, the do not call list actually expired, restarted 2011 or 12. I'm not. So you may want to go back online again and have it on the do not call list, because again that list expired, and some of the phones that were listed on it, if they were businesses, were not eligible to be put on the do not call list again, the national do not call list. And again, it does not stop a lot of people from doing that. If he has a listing on a social media site with his phone number, I would certainly get rid of that. And again, most of the scams that we see now are targeting older individuals, and it's good to monitor them. Another thing you can do is, if he does not have a with a display, if you could possibly afford to get a display for the then any number that he doesn't recognize, he certainly didn't have to answer. And
Right, that's what he's doing. I did again about 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also intercepting a lot of his mail.
Right.
Because he gets many things to come in asking for money.
Right.
He feels that if he doesn't do it, it's not right.
Yeah, it's very
so,
very.
I just wanted to ask about that.
Very fortunate for him that you're there to monitor that, and that's true. They prey on the senses of the older people, and they again also in areas like the South, where people feel obligated to be cordial.
Right.
They get a good
his motto is that if I'm doing what I think is right, and if they're doing wrong with it, they have to, face up to it one day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I understand
that.
But the phone display would probably help a lot. I actually had one of my family members just recently got a call from her supposed grandson that removed, and it wasn't even him. Obviously needed money right now, and really played on her senses, tried to make her feel guilty. So that's if they can, if you can, from even taking the call, that's half the battle.
Well, I do. When he lives behind me, so when I'm up there, I have it and answer it. I've told people that he's moved and things like that, and you know, not act just different things. But,
Yeah, the phone, the phone
but
display.
I'm in the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your questions.
Okay. Appreciate the call. All right. So, yeah, that's, you know, we got it all the time, that they do prey on the elderly, and in her dad's case, I believe she said it was her father. Like I say, here in the South, it's a different, you won't, and the older folks too, they grew up in a time where people didn't do this. People were pretty much what on, you know, you can take people for face value. If they said I'm fine,
They say I'm hungry, I need some food. You know, you gave to
you bring them in and
Well,
set them
and
at
there
the table.
are obviously legitimate causes as well, but most of them wouldn't contact you in that manner.
Mhm. And the one thing I look at is if never ever give credit card or any kind of information like that. If it's a charity, let them. If you make a pledge or something, let them do a bill. That's more safe and more likely to be legit.
Absolutely, yeah. Checks now. I mean, obviously, people can create fake checks that are very difficult to track, and you sometimes wait several weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It will look like it's cleared, and then 30 days later, the bank will send you a notice saying they've taken it back account.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like you said earlier, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best rule of thumb. Absolutely.
So a lot, like I said in the beginning, this when you take in the word cyber, you're taking in a lot of ground, from computer to television to
Right.
to what else?
Smartphones, gaming systems, tablets, portable computers. You know, I have a tablet with me today. I have a mini, which is very close to it. But even gaming systems is one thing we don't think about, or that parents don't think about a lot. If you have any gaming system, and I'll probably get in trouble for mentioning the name, I don't know what they are. They're all copyrighted, but any gaming system that is interactive is also online.
Mm-hmm.
And so those young people can play with other send messages. They can also send videos. Meet people that way, and again, 65% of their online friends are just as important as their real friends in their mind. So, they will give that person the benefit of the doubt, and a relationship can start that way very easily. It could be a very healthy one or not. That's something parents need to monitor as well as gaming systems.
I heard you mention something to our caller there about an elderly person getting a call from a supposedly a grandchild, but not really being one, and many times, they'll for that, especially they try to incorporate a family member in trouble, injured, or something like that. The caller may identify themselves as a doctor, a hospital, a highway patrolman,
a police officer. Yeah, in this case, they did that, and they were very the family member that I'm referring to did not fall for it, and one of the first things said is, sounds like a scam to me.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very nasty. And again, over a phone can't really. And the best response most of the time is no response.
Mm-hmm.
Just to simply hang up. It's so easy now with mass media to check and find out where that family member is, that they're not in Jamaica, whatever it may be, whatever the scam may be.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple to find that person now. There are programs that people have on their phones. One in particular is called 360. You can have your family members own, so you could literally look, and it has their GPS coordinates according to their phone. You can tell exactly where they are all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That then that person would have been able to simply pick up their phone, turn on that program, and know that person was at home in another county. Right.
Yeah. Somewhere else.
Right.
All right. So, we covered a lot of ground, and got some people out thinking, apparently, as evidenced by the caller there. I know there's many other people out there who've probably got some questions on their mind. What should they do if they didn't want to call the radio station for fear somebody would recognize their voice or whatever? What should they do if they want to talk to somebody about this?
They can certainly call our office anytime. I'm Sergeant with the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office. We have several investigators that work these type of crimes. I've been doing it for quite some time, and we'll be glad to. They can simply call into our control room or communications,
Mm-hmm.
and ask to speak to about whatever their question or concern may be, and that we'll have an officer either get with them or get back to them. And again, if they need programs, we do outreach programs throughout the state. We're actually going to do the DARE program, the SRO conference. We've done DS. We do all of the local schools, and we do also a lot of local churches and a lot of local group community activities and or organizations. So if they need that done, if they need organization, call us as well, and we'll be glad to set you up.
And like I said, you're with Cleveland County. Our for our listeners in Lincoln County, Gaston County, of course, call on local police department or sheriff's department.
Lincoln County through Sheriff Carpenter, they have a program as well. Gaston County does as well, and we'd be glad to. We'd be glad to administrate that through our office to get them in touch with who they need to get in touch.
And now let me. This is maybe a question that may situation may arise now with the recent flooding. Are we likely to see scam artists over the telephone or in person showing up trying to do this or do that for people who have been affected by these floods?
We've already received calls and reports and had to deal with scam artists that are actually showing up at houses, offering services, and again, they're generally getting older individuals. They'll give them a price and say they have materials left, and or they're running a special, and obviously they'll way more before it's over, and they guilt that person into trying to pay that. We've had some scams involving flooding that and through phone calls as well. So sure, definitely a good idea, something to look at.
And a question I want to ask you earlier, and it back to me what it was under the title of cyber safety, doing online, like I don't want to say everything that happens on Craigslist is bad. There's good transactions, but there's bad people that use things such as Craigslist and so forth. What are some of the safety measures people take when using a service like that, where you have to meet with someone to buy or sell an object?
Well, the one thing you can do is, is obviously also make sure you're able to actually have contact or at least able to speak to that person. If you only deal with them through email, it's very difficult to know what they actually have. Obviously, their pictures may not be correct. They may be selling stolen goods. If they're offering a good, a product, that's one thing. But if they're offering services, it's another. If they're offering services, you can still research that person either online or through the Better Business Bureau to find legitimate. If they're offering a product, obviously, it's difficult. It's very, very difficult to know what you're getting into. But you obviously wouldn't want to meet them in a public location if you're going to meet them for something, and not discuss, that you're going to have cash with you or anything else. Generally, would like to set up a meeting so that you want to view and or just look at your product. If you ever set up a meeting where you're supposed to, you told them that you're going to purchase the product or that you could that day, then they would know that you have the cash. That's where we run into some problems.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, a lot of good information, and it makes me think. A lot of people tell me on the program I do, Swap Shop, they'll call in and they'll advise listeners, and it's everybody's, everybody that comes to Swap Shop, you're obviously advertising something for sale. People are coming to you. Maybe you're going to people. It's a hard thing to it's a hard judgment to make sometimes, but I want people out there who listen to the Swap Shop and do utilize the Swap Shop to use certain safety measures.
Sure, and actually, again, your adage is correct. It's too good to be true. It probably is.
Mm-hmm.
If they're selling a product that should $600 used and they're asking $100, then that's really too good to be true.
Yeah.
Common sense comes into play, and unfortunately, in the South, we do have I'm not telling people not to trust others, but you still have to have a little bit of independence, I guess. You have to be a little bit more careful, and really look at the big picture instead of getting so focused on the product you're looking at.
Always, thinking, well, nobody do me that way.
Fortunately,
And
there are people.
they're the very ones that they do it to.
Yeah.
But let me ask you too, Sergeant, how much, and this is probably a judgment call for each parent, but how long do you think an average kid should be allowed on
is that's difficult to answer because it is different for different people. We have in some of the presentations in our in-service done this year for our officers, we talk about the old playground and the new playground. The old playground for me was the backyard with a football. So whoever had the football with, they got mad, went home, you had to find another game. And now the playground is just this, sitting with a computer and a phone. I would suggest that parents probably know the better than anybody else. Social media can really help educate a young person, but the old one can even more so. I don't really know why they call it social media. I really feel like it's anti-social media. It's for a young person to develop communication skills if they're never physically communicating. So parents need to balance that. They need to get them outside. They need to get them on the old playground, actually dealing with.
That's a good analogy. I like that one. They should be on the old playground.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Well, that's I guess I'll wrap it up for us today. Maybe there was some other topics that you wanted to touch on. If you anything you need to add to.
I think if we covered most of that, again, I would just reiterate that parents do have an obligation to know what their young people are up to, and also to make sure that any of their family members, especially the older ones, understand what these scams are, and a lot of what they see is a scam. And we have a responsibility to actually investigate.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Tracy Curry with us today from Cleveland County, and as we said, for anyone listening out there, Lincoln, Gaston, Kentucky counties, any of the 16 or more counties that we got questions, check with your local police agency there. All right, Sandy. Tomorrow on this show.
Tomorrow, Mr. Miracle will hear about stress management. So we can talk about the computers and cyber in today, and we're going to talk about the DC ourselves tomorrow.
You need to listen to that one.
Okay. Well, folks, we thank you for tuning in, and always have any questions or a suggestion for a topic for this show, a person of interest to be interviewed, well, just let us know. We'll look into it. We've always always looking for guests to be on the show. And tomorrow, John Miracle, who was scheduled earlier this summer, but we had a conflict that day. Didn't make it, so he's coming in tomorrow. Jackie Sibley, who's a regular guest from Travel Tourism in Cleveland County, will be in on Wednesday, from Monday through Wednesday, right here. We'll see you next time.
We'd like to know, when's the best time to listen?
4-7.
All day.
That's the correct answer.
They go country, WHS Shelby, WLO in Lincoln, and WCSL Cherubim Gastonia.
I'm Randy Owen. Join me each week as I play 5 decades of great country music and tell stories about a lot of my friends and heroes, like Conway, Charlie Pride. We may even